Hi, Dr. Rosie Main. I want to share with you just a testimony about my infertility struggles and specifically just the beautiful thing that happens when you follow God's laws of healing. And I truly believe that, God gave us some answers during the struggle with my husband and I not able to conceive for over 8 years. And unfortunately, like a lot of people, we lose hope. I got to the point where I was coveting, just the fact that some women, were always complaining about their kids, and I wanted kids. And my husband and I were practicing. We are both chiropractors, and we thought, of course, that we were healthy, and unfortunately, we weren't probably doing the best when it comes to toxicity, and we found out that my husband had heavy metals and issues with toxicity. I myself checked myself and found that, there was some things that I needed to clean up, amongst also the fact that, I really feel that with the stress that goes on with our lives, we think we're eating right. I was a bodybuilder and a competitor with fitness, and I, thought I was eating healthy, but yet at the same time was still eating a lot of processed, proteins and bars and drinks. And so we had a lot to work on, and I think God knew that. And so it was about maybe my 8th year into trying that I remember surrendering, and I truly believe that I got to the point where I got frustrated because we were doing all the right things but yet not able to conceive. And so I got on my knees, and I'll never forget this. I screamed at Jesus, and I screamed at the fact that I wanted kids, and I surrendered to him. And I think that's where it all started. Mindset. I let it go, and I allowed him to have his way. During that next year, my husband and I decided that we were going to get ourselves healthy. He was struggling with depression, so we started working with detoxing his body and myself. We started to clean up our diet. We started to look at things differently when it came to just our practice and our own health, and we started to make sure that we corrected our spines. It didn't happen till like maybe a year later that I felt different, and I tested myself, and I was pregnant. And I was so excited. And the reason I tell you this is because the fact is that I had put, that night that I surrendered to Christ, I had put on a journal. When I told God that, I was very mad at him, I told him that when he was ready, he was going to give me not only a baby, but he was giving me twins. And he was gonna grant me that wish that I wanted twin boys. And so sure enough, I had forgotten about that. About 5-6 months into pregnancy, my midwife kept telling me that, maybe I should go and check myself because I was getting too big for my height, and that maybe there was twins. And so sure enough, I went ahead and took her advice. I didn't do an ultrasound, but they did a Doppler, and they found out there was 2 heartbeats. And so I was ecstatic. I went to my journal, and I actually saw that I had, reminded myself that I had put that on a journal, and I had asked God when I surrendered to him to grant me twin boys. And lo and behold, about a week later, I was premature, 6 months. At 30 weeks, I conceived, and my water broke, rushed me, unfortunately, to the hospital, where I did have him in the NICU. But, it was amazing because these little boys came out. And I'm going to tell you one thing, the fact is that I know that Jesus wants to give us those desires of our hearts. And sometimes there's a struggle because there's interference. And I think the number one interference in my life, and I'm not sure about what yours is, but maybe it was the fact that I wasn't allowing him to have his way. I wanted it on my time. Most people right now, we want to take birth control for, our purposes. We forget that, all these things, do affect our hormones. They do change the way our body functions. And I really feel that my husband and I too, we had to let it be in his time. And not only that, during this process, we were able to get healthier. During this time too, what was beautiful is my husband also came to Christ, which was a beautiful thing. I think that God needed us to both be equally yoked at that point. And so I feel that the obedience and the trust and the surrendering to him and letting him have his way. And so we had faith, but then we also had works. We took action when it came to our health. We started to get our spine corrected. We started to eat better. We started to detox, exercise, and honor our temple. And so this is what the Maximized Living Principles teach, is to do the best we can to remove the interference and allow God to do the healing. And so now I am blessed with twin little boys that were set in my heart, and God granted those. And so never let go of your vision. Put it on paper. Pray and surrender it to him and allow him to have his way. And then get out of the way and remove any other interferences that are blocking you to truly living the potential that God has for you. So I hope that you instill just hope back into your life, and that you remember that whatever it is for you or your family, whatever struggle, just go down on your knees tonight and pray and go and listen to him and have him have his way with your life. We just thank you for listening, and go bless others just with this truth to others. Share this. Remind people, if it's you that's struggling with infertility, just be reminded maybe there's another way, but never forget God's just health and healing and just his ability and what he desires for you, and just trust in him. Thank you.